Welcome back to another episode of If I Go Missing, You Know Why. Today I'm going to continue forward with where I left off yesterday, telling you things that are happening in our oceans right now that your government is completely leaving you in the dark over. Over the past couple of days, I've been telling you some very important things about the Devil's Triangle, otherwise known as the Dragon's Triangle, or also known as the Pacific's Bermuda Triangle. I also shared with you in this same area the Godzilla Megamulium, which is literally named after Godzilla, and it names every single body part from top to bottom, such as the leg ridge, tail rise, east leg ridge, west hip bone rise, north tail rise, hip bone rise, etc., etc., etc. I also told you the importance of Fukushima and its radiation leak right there in the same exact area. But the things I'm going to tell you today should truly knock your socks off. As you know, I told you the importance of Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and them literally killing hundreds and thousands of civilians compared to a handful of military personnel. I also shared with you guys the importance of knowing that Godzilla itself was created in the middle of all this and was named after a real-life event of Lucky Dragon number 5 and the Bikini Atoll Proving Ground bombing. But I want to tell you this. Around the same time, the Devil's Triangle began to truly get its name. Because between 1950 and 1954, several Japanese fishing and cargo vessels, as well as military aircraft, were lost in that very area, leading the Japanese government to temporarily declare it a danger zone, hence the Dragon Sea. While some attributes this to the paranormal activity of electromagnetic anomalies, fun fact, according to movies and folklore, when an electromagnetic field is caused and opened randomly and cause a disruption in your magnetic poles, a portal's been opened. And fun fact, one of the most famous losses is the Lucky Dragon number 5 I was telling you about. That happened right in the middle of all of it in 1952. But that ain't nothing. Listen to everything that I'm about to present to you if you think a coincidence is truly a coincidence. According to ancient Japanese legends, in the year 1000 BC, there was a dragon who lived off the coast of Japan, so it was called the Dragon Triangle. This dragon can spray fire like volcanic eruptions. When there were boats crossing the sea, the dragon sank and killed the sailors. That's the legend. Well, guess what happened literally in 1945 on the dot? In 1945, the U.S. Navy Special Fleet of 200 fighters was swept off the deck in aircraft carrier, and 765 sailors died and went missing in that same area called the Devil's Sea. 1952, Japanese government dispatched number 5, Kaomaru, which means Lucky Dragon, and you have 31 crew to explore the mysteries in the sea, and they left without ever coming back. And where did they go? The Devil's Triangle. And then check out this sighting in 1957 in the Dragon's Triangle. You have a captain and sailor suddenly see two objects glistening with silver light with wings more than 10 meters in diameter, like disc metal falling from the sky and falling right into the water not far from the ship. Following that on the sea suddenly was a big wave. Then by 1981, you have this ship off the coast of the East China Sea, same area. That was discovered a circular object with a diameter of about 200 meters. Blue light from the sea flashed up, making the sea rise. Once again, fun fact, Godzilla flashes a blue light of plasma radiation from his mouth. So does Leviathan in your Bible, flashes lightning from its mouth. But I think this one's pretty crazy here. Look, by 1980, you have this ship, which is the largest ship of the British. And it's even dubbed the unsinkable ship. Well, that ship went missing without a trace in the Devil's Triangle when carrying 160,000 tons of iron ore from Canada to Kawasaki, Japan. But guess what's happening right now, April 20th of 2026? Japan is assessing sub-sea threat landscape, and they are doing some pretty crazy things about it. Check this out. So, last year, you have Japan launching their private Japanese observing satellite in which they are scanning the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, and they call it the Sea God Sees. Wow. And they launched this thing at 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, here's a fun fact for you. In the movie Pacific Rim, it was actually talked about and discussed right in the movie about their massive orbital and coastal tracking arrays via satellites, in which they were tracking the Jaegers, and the Jaegers were coming out of a specific area. And I also think it's very wild that we also have our own orbital system called a drag net, like a dragon net for catching a dragon. And it's deployed specifically for mapping the energy shifts occurring on the ocean floor. Same exact thing Japan is doing with their tracking system. And remember, the kaiju in Pacific Rim, they came from a certain area called the Breach, which was literally known as the Mariana Trench. And guess where the Mariana Trench is? Well, there's the Devil's Triangle, and at the edge of the Devil's Triangle is the Mariana Trench. But hey, maybe all of that and this is a big old coincidence.